760 square miles, that's the size of Spain's smallest province. But even though it's the smallest, you wouldn't believe the incredible influence it has on the current state of the Premier League. So small that only the City of London is bigger than it. And today we're going to discover this little piece of land and its impact on the Prem, and even a little bit beyond, so stay till the end. Situated between the Bay of Biscay and the French border in the northeastern corner of the Basque Country, the province of Gipuzkoa may be unfamiliar to the average English fan. For Spanish football, however, it is a priceless heritage. Until recently, the province of Gipuzkoa was known for its beautiful scenery, a few tourist towns such as Donostia or San Sebastian, which is home to one of the best clubs in Spain, Real Sociedad, and of course, the fact that it is the smallest of Spain's 50 provinces. But in the last year, people have started to recognize it for another reason. Because Gipuzkoa is home to some of the finest Spanish managers in Europe at the moment, 4 of them in the Premier League. And the 5th, yes, we have 5 Spanish managers in the Prem, how crazy, right? Has a lot to do with this province. But the craziest fact of all is that when the nominees for Manager of the Season were announced in May 2024, more than half of them were Gipuzkoans. Arsenal's Mikel Arteta, Aston Villa's Unai Emery and Bournemouth's Andoni Iraola were all born in this football-mad corner of Spain, and they were all crazy good last season. Yes, since the start of this campaign, Arteta and Emery have dropped down a gear, with both going through a nasty run of form in the last month or so. Iraola's Bournemouth, on the other hand, have been flying, especially against his Spanish counterparts in recent weeks, beating Guardiola's Man City and Arteta's Arsenal, as well as drawing with Emery's Aston Villa. He is surely one of the next Spanish greats, especially with his attractive style of play, but more on that later in the video. And as for Guardiola, yes, we all know he is a Catalan at heart and would never betray his beloved Barcelona, but his success in the Premier League is largely down to his assistant from Gipuzkoa, Juanma Lillo, you know, the cool guy who always sits next to Guardiola during Man City games and to whom Pep often complains when the game is not going well, is a Gipuzkoa resident. The same applies to Cheeky Begiristain, City's all-knowing, all-conquering director of football, and Javier Mancisidor, the club's goalkeeping coach. In addition to these 4 names, we also have Julen Lopetegui, the West Ham coach who was the chosen one to replace David Moyes after his long reign at the London Stadium, and Xabi Alonso, undoubtedly one of the most sought-after managers in the world after what he showed with Leverkusen last season. He is young, he is capable and confident in his ideas, and he has worked with some top names during his playing career, such as Jose Mourinho, 2 legendary compatriots in Rafa Benitez and Vicente Del Bosque. What more could you ask for? He could be ideal for any club in Europe, especially Real Madrid. What do you think, Madridistas? With all that being said, you certainly get the point. Gipuzkoa really is that important for Spanish football as a whole, but the best part is that each of these names is young and could be on the footballing map for decades. Arteta, Iraola and Alonso are all 42, while Lopetegui and Emery are a bit older, but still have plenty of coaching ahead of them, 58 and 53 respectively. And speaking of the trio of 42-year-olds, you might have thought they had all studied together, or at least known each other since childhood. Not only that, but they were all good friends as kids, playing together for the amateur side in San Sebastian called Antiguoko. They were together for more than 5 years before Arteta joined Barcelona's La Masia at the age of 15, and you know the rest, he was deemed not good enough by the Barca coaches. Then a brief spell at PSG and legendary status at Everton and Arsenal. Then, as an assistant to Pep Guardiola at Man City, he put everything he had learned into practice at the Emirates Stadium, where he is challenging his mentor for the Premier League title for the 3rd season in a row. When it comes to the difference in ideology and style of play between the 5 Gipuzkoan coaches, Arteta is the only one to have learned directly from Pep himself. This has naturally led to his own approach, albeit in a slightly different way. Arteta's football is based on positional play and fluid attacking structures, with an emphasis on controlling space and possession. He often uses inverted fullbacks, just like Guardiola, midfield overloads, just like Guardiola, and dynamic wide players, again, just like Guardiola. But the difference is in his movement off the ball and the speed with which he exploits space. In this respect, Arteta's game is much quicker than Pep's. In addition, his pressing is often a little deeper than Guardiola's, which on paper allows his team to recover the ball quicker. When it comes to high-intensity pressing, nobody beats Andoni Iraola. You might not know him from his playing days, but he was actually a very successful right-back for Athletic Bilbao, playing for the team between 2003 and 2015. After a 2-year break from the game, he returned to coaching, taking charge of AEK Larnaca and Mirandes. His first flashes of brilliance came with Rayo Vallecano in La Liga and his memorable matches against Barcelona between 2020 and 2023, when he went 4 games unbeaten against the Catalan giants. Then he got a call from Bournemouth and never thought twice about blowing the chance. And his brand of football is definitely one of the most adventurous, even reckless, some might say. Compared to typical Spanish football, which is characterized by positional play and possession, Iraola is nothing like that. His ideology combines a very high-aggressive, high-pressing approach with an attacking mentality. His influences lean towards Marcelo Bielsa's energetic style, where pressing intensity is at the core. That's why goal number 1 in his football is quick ball recovery, as well as quick transitions and sharpness all over the pitch. Traditionally speaking, Iraola's style is more in line with the German school of football than the Spanish one. The quintessential Spanish style, however, is that of Julen Lopetegui, who is the polar opposite of Iraola. Organisation, defensive solidity, ball control and possession are key words in Lopetegui's game. He is the most conservative of the 5 names here, and you could even say that Lopetegui's speed in building attacks is even slower than Guardiola's, but overall, Julen is the man whose style most resembles that of the legendary Catalan. And if you haven't already guessed the curious trend associated with the 5 Gipuzkoans, you have until the end of the video to give your guesses, when we'll reveal the answer. Arteta, Iraola, Lopetegui, yes, we're left with Emery and Xabi Alonso, the most pragmatic and versatile of the 5. Since the early days of Unai Emery, he's been known for his ability to adapt to the style of opposition. He doesn't have a set style like Iraola or Lopetegui, for example, but prefers to tailor his game plans to exploit the opposition's weaknesses. We have seen this at Sevilla, arguably the pinnacle of his career to date, as well as PSG, Arsenal, Villarreal and now Aston Villa. His teams often mix high pressing with a central defensive line to control the space in the middle of the park and use quick transitions to create goal-scoring opportunities. And last but not least, Xabi Alonso, the man who led Bayer Leverkusen to their first ever Bundesliga title, also offers something similar. But the difference is that he takes a little something from everyone. He likes organised defence, like Lopetegui, his build-ups are patient, like Arteta, and he's also quite adaptable depending on the opponent's style, like Emery. That's why Alonso could be described as a hybrid master. He definitely has an established style of play, but he doesn't hesitate to adopt a different approach when needed. This is largely due to the fact that he has worked with many top coaches during his playing career, all of whom have influenced him in one way or another. And you know where this adaptability comes from? Well, it's in the Basque blood. Traditionally in Spain, the Basque people are considered to be grittier, tougher and rougher than the rest of the country, and this is reflected in their style of football. On the other hand, all 5 of them have crossed borders to learn from other experiences and cultures. Arteta, for example, has played in Scotland as well as England and France. Iraola became obsessed with the NFL and its coaching methods after a spell with the MLS with New York City FC, while Emery had a stint in Russia with Spartak Moscow during his coaching career. It has definitely given them a different perspective and made them much more versatile. And now for the interesting trend we talked about. Guardiola, Lopetegui and Emery, the more experienced, the more old-school Spanish coaches, have adopted a more conservative style, with Emery being the most adventurous of the 3. Arteta, Iraola and Alonso, on the other hand, have seen more of the modern game simply because they have played until very recently, and this has allowed them to be more innovative in their style. However, whichever style and tempo you prefer, whichever you find most pleasing to the eye, these 5 coaches from Gipuzkoa, along with Guardiola of course, have left their mark on the Premier League and Europe. And don't be surprised if there's another one around the corner anytime soon. If you enjoyed that one, don't forget to give your opinion as well as hit the like and subscribe buttons. It's completely free, but you get non-stop unlimited quality in return. See you in the next one.